Hi everyone, welcome back to the latest edition of the Fargo Force Show. Joining me this week is Force center Shane McMahan, second year with the Force, one of the assistant captains as well for the Force. Shane, tell me about being a captain, what an honor that is and what it means to you and the team.
It's definitely an honor, to be voted in by your teammates as a leader. It's definitely good. It's nice to see.
Talk about the difference between your first year with the Force last year and now second year this year. Just the changes, how much more comfortable you are, all that kind of stuff, second year to first year.
Yeah, second year, you feel more comfortable on the ice. You know what to expect. You know how everything's going to go. So it's definitely easier this year.
44 games last year, 3 goals, 5 assists. This year, 29 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. Describe your style of play in your game?
My style of play. I definitely a role guy. I like to very proud of PK and such. So it's nice.
You guys have been pretty good on that this year too, especially recently. We'll talk about that as we get into highlights a little bit. But being on the penalty kill, what is the mentality on that? I don't know if I've asked anybody on the show this year. Talk about the mentality on being on PK.
It's definitely, you got to have a different mentality. It's all about blocking shots, just being in your position.
Is that something you've always kind of done? I mean, been one of those guys that have done that and kind of maybe, you don't get all the glory or all the numbers, but been willing to kind of do some of that dirty work and that kind of thing to help the team?
Yeah, always.
Describe this season with the Force. We've talked to a few guys on the show this season, and it seems like it's, the term roller coaster up and down has been, bandied about a lot. How would you describe this season so far?
Yeah, definitely roller coaster. It's been up and down, but once we get going, I think the season can be really great.
What do you guys need to do to get things rolling in that right direction and stop that streak of, win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2, that kind of thing?
I think our mental preparation and focus, our starts to games have been pretty tough, but I think once we figure that out, I think everything will come together.
What can you do about that? I know Coach was here last show, and he's talked about that too, the starts. What do you do? Has he tried anything? Have you guys tried anything to get off to that better start, experimenting a little bit even? Talk about that.
Yeah, we've tried a number of things. I mean, from everything from pregame warm-up to on-ice warm-up, we just try to do something different, get everybody focused, whether it's, some guys do their own thing, and we just try to get everybody focused.
75 goals for the Force this year, which by 1 goal is the fewest goals scored in the USHL. But Coach has made some trades, some moves in the last month or so to try to kind of benefit that. What are your thoughts on that? Some of these guys you like that have come in that can maybe get the puck in the net a few more times and help you guys in that area?
Yeah, definitely. A couple of guys are really starting to fit in. They're starting to find their groove. So I think these guys that have come in, the newer guys, are going to be good for us.
Now, one of the things you like to do when you're away from the ice is you're from Colorado, spent some time in California, but now back in Colorado, and your hometown is Colorado, but is doing a little fishing. What can you tell us about fishing? What's your favorite type of fishing? What do you do the most?
Fishing, probably bass fishing. It's a lot of fun, a lot of action. So
that's what you did back home in Colorado?
Yeah.
And what about this area? What have you done around here since you've been in the FM area?
This area, I've been doing a lot of catfishing on the Red River. So that's definitely been a treat.
Any walleye fishing?
Yeah, I did a little bit of walleye fishing up in actually in Canada in Lake of the Woods. So
okay.
that's been fun.
So what do guys on the team ask you for some fishing tips? What's your best fishing tip?
Here and there, but probably the best fishing tip is just to be patient.
All right. Well, since our last show, the Force had played 4 games, wrapped up the longest homestand of the year, 7-game homestand. Let's take a look at how those games went. They started the homestand started this last stretch hosting Des Moines on New Year's Eve. First period, scoreless. Fargo's Blake Lazat gets nifty on the attack. He's taken down, which resulted in a forced power play, but they couldn't capitalize, and it was scoreless 3-1. Second period, Dennis Smirnov with a breakaway, but he's stolen by Jan Ruzic. But Fargo did break through for 2 goals in the period. They added 2 more in the third, and they win it 4-1 to send 2015 out with a bang. 4-1 the final. Goals by Lazat. Jack Adams had 2, and also Hank Crone. Dennis Smirnov had 3 assists. Ryan Wishow had 21 saves, and the Force outshot Des Moines in that one, 29-22. So after taking New Year's Day off, the Force were back on the ice January 2nd, hosting Waterloo. Monique Lamoureux dropping the puck there. Period 1, Force on the attack. Our guest, Mr. McMahan, shot is stopped. You would, however, get the Force's only goal in this one. We'll talk about that in a second. Later in the first, Blackhawks tally. The pass goes through 3 players right to Marshall Moyse. 2-0 Waterloo after a period. Fargo, though, kept scrapping and battling. Watch the big hit along the boards by Cole Gallant. Fargo cut it to 2-1 early in the third, but that's as close as they got. Waterloo wins it 3-1. Goals by McMahan, as we said. You were assisted by Gallant and Johnson. Wisho had 23 saves. And again, the Force outshot their opponent 29-27. But disappointing, Shane, to come up and lose again. But you got that goal as well. There is it kind of a little mixed feeling, I imagine. Nice to score, but obviously you want to get the victory.
Yeah, definitely a mixed feeling. You know, it's nice to score when you can, but it's definitely tough to lose.
All right, so the following weekend, the Force then wrapped up their longest homestand of the year, as I said, a 7-gamer by hosting the Chicago Steel twice. On Friday, January 8th, the Force outshot Chicago 39-37, but couldn't put one in the net and lost 1-0. The Force were 0-7 on the power play. The next night, however, the Force struggled again on the power play, going 0-5, but it didn't matter. 5 goals they scored. In fact, after leading this one 3-0, the Force then trailed 4-3 in the final minute. You guys pulled your goalie, and Grant Meyer scored with a minute left to send the game into overtime, and then in OT, Smirnoff scored a minute in to give you guys a thrilling 5-4 overtime victory. What a game that one was, and a great way to kind of wrap up the weekend as well. Big momentum. We're getting off to a good start, almost blowing it, and then coming back to win. That had to be huge.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you remember about that game? What was the key? Did you, when you get up to a big lead like that, 3-0, is there a tendency to kind of relax a little bit, and then maybe they end up getting back into it, and then you guys kind of had the mental fortitude to finish it off there?
You know, yeah, you try not to relax. I mean, you really want to keep the gas pedal going, but obviously we did take a step back, and they capitalized on that. But to definitely come back at the end of the game and tie it up was huge for us. A
big confidence booster to win one like that, where you score pulling your goalie at the end. I mean, that doesn't happen a whole lot.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, let's take a look at the USHL Western Conference standings then after these past 4 games. Just past the halfway point in the USHL, Lincoln still on top despite going 3-6-1 in their last 10 games. Tri-City there 4 points back of Lincoln with 35, and then the last 6 teams are all separated, as you see, by just 6 points. Omaha there, the Force at the bottom with 28, but the biggest mover probably of the week was Des Moines. They were tied for last 2 weeks ago. They went 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Force 4-5-1 in their last 10. When you look at those standings, Shane, what do you think? What comes to mind?
They're really close. It's really tight conference this year, and I think it's anybody's game right now.
Is it? I know Coach said last time we had him on the show, he's never seen it this tight, this far into the season, where so many teams are grouped so close together like that.
Yeah, it definitely was not this close last year. So.
Do you guys just feel like when you guys are that close, to just feel like, hey, if we can just get on that run, that 3, 4, 5 game winning streak, or go 7-3, in a 10-game span, is it something like that where you're just right there and it's there for the taking? You just got to kind of do it?
Yeah, definitely. We look to a couple home game weekends. We got 4 coming up here in the next couple weeks, so those are games we definitely need to win. All
right, let's take a look at that upcoming schedule then for the Force. Starting on January 15th and 16th, you guys are on the road at Sioux Falls on Friday, January 15th, then at Lincoln on January 16th. Lincoln is the first place team, but has been struggling a bit, as we said. Good way to make up some ground, though. All these teams are ahead of you in the conference. Then the following weekend, January 22nd and 23rd, you guys host Waterloo. 0-2 versus the Blackhawks this year, but like you said, they're just 4 points ahead of you. So great opportunity in these next 4 games to make up some ground.
Yeah, especially against teams in our conference. They're 4-point games, really. I mean, we can go up 2, then they go down 2. So they're big games. You guys have done fairly well against Sioux Falls as your coach's old team. Waterloo, we've only played them twice, but 0-2. Is there a certain team out there that maybe just has it been a tough matchup for you so far, whether it's the style of play or something along those lines? Is there those type of teams out there? Teams definitely got your number sometimes. I mean, it's tough when you don't get bounces you want, but I think any team can beat any team in this league. So,
and imagine by the same token that there's teams that maybe when you take the ice, you guys just have a good feeling. You just know you match up well, or you had success with them in the past, and you kind of have a good feeling going in, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, Shane, thanks for being here this week. Appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Shane McMahan, our guest this week on the Fargo Force Show. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time.